here we go. Welcome, everybody. Another week, another dollar. Welcome to Nachin and Friends this beautiful Friday night. Aquí directly desde Los Angeles. We have beautiful guests tonight. We have Heidi. You guys can see her. She's breathing, so the camera's picking her up. So we told her to mute the microphone, but she didn't listen. It's okay. No, just kidding. Now we have Charlie. We're going to be talking to Heidi in a little bit, and we have a great show that we're going to bring you. We have great news, and we have great topics. One that struck a chord, and that's why Heidi's here, straight from San Diego, a Latina activist, Mexican American, and she's somebody with a great brain that we're going to bring on board, and we've been trying to get on board, but she's been busy giving lectures at her house to her tías and tíos, and, you know, es así, finalmente we got the star.
El vecino, la vecina, todo. You have to start somewhere,
Exactly.
Right?
Charlie, ¿cómo estás, cabrón?
Good, brother. Just happy to be here. So... Hey, and tomorrow's the weekend. Can't forget about nuestra Virgencita.
Oh,
Party
yes.
tomorrow for the Virgencita de Guadalupe. So, yeah.
Hey, dedicado a la Virgen de Guadalupe for those that, you know, believe in good cause. La Virgen de Guadalupe para todos los mexicanos es nuestra reina, and mañana we celebrate her. And typically, every year, people get up early, like at 6 in the morning, even midnight, and they go take las mañanitas, which is like the Mexican happy birthday, and they take la banda. Right here in Los Angeles, that's how it happens. And it's a beautiful celebration, but this year, you know, due to our COVID outbreak, we cannot be doing that. So let's do it spiritually, connect with one another, and let's be good to one another. And I want to send a shout out to my brother Lupe that el Día de la Virgen es su cumpleaños. Que Dios te bendiga, carnal, y que Dios te dé más años. And everybody is celebrating a birthday and still staying alive during these tough times and staying positive. Shout outs to you. Shout outs a nuestras familias that allow us to do this. And let's do this, Charlie. What you got? What's popping in the news? ¿Qué pasó, carnal?
Bro, there's a lot of things going on. The first one and foremost, I got your stimulus update, bro.
Échale la feria. Me creo stripper.
Hey, you know, right? No, I'd rather spend my money on something else like equipment for the show.
Exactly.
Anyways, so, yeah, man, as much as we want this check to come through and the EDD payments to come through, unfortunately, Congress
Nada?
has nothing yet. However, they bought time to talk more about this COVID-19 relief.
Pinches
So
viejos.
there's more to come. They don't make up their minds on what they actually want. I mean, if it was up to me, I'll get everybody money. I'll get everybody an extension.
Bro, it's our money. We're the taxpayers. We're the ones supplying the chain, and
That's it.
they should at least stop paying themselves. They extended it so they wouldn't lose on their payment, and us, we can live like nothing, right? We're not making your
Right.
top dollars like you are over there in the White House, but yet, you know, you milk us till you can, you know, the last drop. And that is sad because we're literally like in the time of like a pandemic and the time when we need each other, holiday season, families are stressed out because they might lose their home. And this is not the time to do it in wintertime. Politicians, get
The
your
essentials.
together, cabrones.
Yeah, get it together. I mean, talking about politicians, I could definitely tell you more good news. LA County unveils COVID vaccine distribution
Oh,
plan.
they're going to give it away
So
now?
that's good.
They approved it today, right?
They approved it today. It believes that within the next week, they're going to get about 83,000 vaccines
Ándele.
here in LA. It sounds like they're going to start off with health workers.
Órale.
So, hospitales, clínicas.
Just a caution, they're saying that some of the vacunas, because there's so many different versions, that some of them are causing people that have an allergic reaction, like bad feelings. So, you know, just watch out and try to stay safe if you're one of those and you got to get it later. We'll do that. But those that are going to get it first, thank you for being those brave warriors. And let's end this crap that is already like killing businesses, is killing society. And we need to really get back on our feet,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Talking about vaccines, one of the producers, Pfizer,
Yeah.
has recalled the medication for what do you call it when you get sad?
Depressed, cabrón.
Depression. They and they messed up the bottles. Instead of giving people depression medication, they were giving them Viagra.
Damn, so
So-
they were not sad. They were happy, Charlie. A lot of happy
They were
people
very
out
happy.
there. They're like, no mames,
they
I was
said
knocking
they-
on doors by
they knew
myself.
some- they literally knew something was up when
Literally.
yeah. something was going on.
It's crazy, man. A lot of things are happening. También DMV, due to COVID, they're going to be blocking
Ooh,
the test drivings, lo que está, te subes en la, pues hacer tu examen de la licencia. No te van a dejar por las próximas 2 semanas. I really think it's a long vacation.
okay.
DMV is saying, you know what? We're tired. We really don't do anything. So let's do nothing even more. Let's just rest for another
I
2-3 weeks. Vale, no.
I hope they come. I hope they come back. They come back happy. You know, the well, better I
Oh,
hope.
no, no. No, pobrecitos, they work too much. No, get in here. Get out of there. I'm like, bro, they need to, last week, during the week, we read a story that LAPD and all these other police departments in the state of California might be, going under different changes if this bill passes in the assembly, which means that they're going to need to have a degree and they're going to have to be at least 25 years old. So a little bit more older, a little bit more mature. But I think they should also apply that technique to DMV workers, man, because sadly enough, they're always stressed out and biting your head off, Not all of them, but the majority.
For the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah, yeah.
No serving. Number
¿Qué
two.
más?
Pásame. Start coming number
You said
two.
you were going to do something with the McDonald's one really quick, Charlie?
Bro, yes, really quick. So earlier in the week we mentioned that Mickey D's next year they're gonna raise their prices on their Happy Meals.
¿Por qué eso? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué era la
That's
cosa
right.
behind it?
So the reason behind it, just a little, it's a long story. Long story short, it looks like corporate office gives every franchise about $300 each month for them to go and supply Happy Meals. Now, with this whole pandemic going on, there's no movies. What do you get in the Happy Meal? A little toy from an upcoming new movie that's gonna come out. So that entertainment business is affecting McDonald's. Why? Because they're not getting any kickbacks when they promote this movie.
Well, they're saying today, salió las noticias that AMC Theaters already announced to the world that this next month is the last month they have money to survive. So if nothing
Oh
happens, most
man,
likely we're going to lose AMC. And it's sad, man. Everything is moving into indoors. Those days when you would go to the drive-in, when you would go to the movies, I
yeah,
think are ending. It's sad that we're going through these transitions, but it's life. It's evolution. It's how things change, how things evolve.
that's right.
Well, Charlie, thank you
I
so
mean,
much, man. We don't want you on the show anymore.
I
We'll
know.
get out of here. Nah, just kidding. No,
Good night.
no, Charlie, no te vayas, güey. No, we have a lot of things to talk about, and those are the news that are happening, and there's more, but we really want to concentrate on the topic of the night. A lot of people going digital. A lot of people, this morning, I saw a post that had Blockbuster and Netflix, and it said that back in the day when Netflix was trying to get funded and was trying to grow, they approached Blockbuster and they told them, look, we'll be your ally. We'll be your division of digital and blah, blah, blah. Blockbuster said, ni madres. And they say, now look where they are. So it's evolution and things that are happening. And Netflix now, speaking of such, is doing something that a lot of people wanted and a lot of people are having a controversy about, which is the Selena Netflix series. A lot of people are in love with it. They're like, ay, fotos y recuerdos, amor la nalga. But
Como
then
la
you have
flor.
a, como la flor, doña Flor, así se llama la señora que cuida a mi bebé. Y también hay gente que dice que no, esto es muy malo porque there's so many things wrong with it. And it caught my attention, Charlie. This week I read a post on Instagram and then on Facebook from una muchacha que se llama Heidi, la muchacha que introducimos earlier. Y Heidi habla muy abiertamente of what it is behind this scene because she's been exposed to the Hollywood scene. And as we see back here, it's all about the money, the Benjamins.
Ching ching.
And sometimes they forget about reality. And I would love to introduce her and bring her onto the show and really talk about this, I guess, whole thing that it's really making a lot of people shake to a point that it feels like it's a social movement against inequality, against stereotypes, against misrepresentation in Hollywood. And without further ado, let's introduce Heidi. Heidi, ¿cómo estás?
Woo woo. Hey Heidi.
Good. How are you guys? Am I back on?
You're back on. We switched you back on. Thank you so much for not breathing during all this time so your camera wouldn't come on. No, just kidding. Heidi, welcome. This is Charlie, our producer Charlie. And we wanted to take a moment of your time to see if you can share with us what you wrote in that post. And we're not going to say anything. And we comment about it and we just go and attack the topic the way it is, the way you lay it out. Do you mind reading it for us so the ones that are watching at home or will be watching later can understand where you're coming from?
Not at all. Definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and read it from my phone,
Okay,
okay?
échale.
The problem with the problem with Mexicans in Hollywood is the following. If you are Mexican, you cannot be good looking. If you are good looking, you have to be mixed or claim or promote that you are mixed. An example of this is Jessica Alba is half white. Selena Gomez is half Italian. Eva Longoria had to emphasize that her blood was more Spaniard. When the production is Mexican, we hire actors who are not Mexican for the best roles. We allowed a bad accent. When we hire a Mexican, it has to be someone brown. Nothing wrong with being brown, but we always have to downplay our look to an average brown around the way person. They say el amor entra por los ojos. We live in the US, which is a superficial country. We descend from Mexico, where the media has fed us hot actors in novelas our entire life. Mentally, we are fed two different images of ourselves in both sides of the border. The hot Mexican actors from in Mexico and the average brown Mexican in the United States. Until we Mexican producers, actors, casting directors push off these stereotypes that are given to us and cast pretty, charismatic, talented, light and brown people of Mexican descent, the audience will continue to feel as if we fell short in representing them. Listen to the complaints. This Mexican person is not played by a Mexican. We don't have that accent. They couldn't find a prettier girl. You hear this over and over in our movies. Is it superficial? In a way, yes. But we watch movies to see stars, people with a spark, people who are talented and who wow us in their roles, who often become icons of fashion and compete in the Pretty of the Year magazine. Where is this Mexican Selma Hayek who doesn't have to say she's mixed? Let's be honest. We have failed to give the Mexican American and the Mexican audience a badass Mexican. P.S. I do say this with all respect to all hardworking Latinos in the entertainment business. And notice how I also said Mexican, not Latino, because I feel that other Latinos, are allowed to be sexy. Jennifer Lopez, she's allowed to be hot. Rosalina Sanchez, Puerto Ricans are allowed to be hot. Colombians are allowed to be hot. So, Shakira and Sofia Vergara. But Mexicans, if we are hot, we have to say that we are half, or we have to promote that we are half. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of mixtures in Mexico because Mexico was conquered by, so many countries, um, and so many people moved to Mexico. We had a wave of Italians, Asians, Middle Easterns, and there are those mixes. But Sofia Vergara doesn't have to go on and say, I'm Spaniard, you guys. Yeah, I'm from like Colombia, but I'm also Spaniard. But a Mexican actress has to, if she's pretty. If she's average, doesn't matter.
So, in basic words, you're saying that the roles are kind of like inverted, meaning like for Mexicans, when they go into the Hollywood scene, you cannot be seen as pretty. You have to be looking like Danny Trejo. And that's how we're perceived as something that looks more like a stereotype, more of like something that is a working class individual rather than somebody that can, be a little bit different in their image, per se. Do you think that?
Yes.
Do you think that's a problem because the producers are the ones with the money and they're the ones that supply the chain? They're they're kind of like racist in the background of their head, like saying, you know what, this is all we see. Maria that cleans my house, it's a señorita gordita. She's not a supermodelo. Is that why you think like still there because those people are the ones that control it?
I think naturally that it could be a various, it could be so many things, but I think one of the things is, um, We are the Latinos that are right across the border. We are the Latinos that forever, since the 1800s, have been told mentally that we are less than the American, than all, than white American. So if they change that in television, it changes our mind towards ourselves. It empowers us. It could be that. It could also be that for years we've allowed this. So now there's a stereotype towards us, and no one wants to change it. And no one has had, you know, the no one has pushed for this
But
change. No one has truly pushed. We
why do you
tried,
think
but
we're not
nobody has
pushing for
really
it? Do you
pushed.
think the producers that are out there, there's not enough Latino money to produce such content to give us like good roles? Like I dream of the day when we can have like a series like Blackish, but for Latinos, and it's not just stereotypes like ugly George Lopez show, Gabriel Iglesias, the typical guys that were able to buy into the whole media, general market media. Like you said, it's not all of us. We're not all of them. And the thing that I hate about the whole game itself is that for a while I got into the acting game and I was sent just for pure stereotypical roles and I said no and I walked away from it. But the thing that hurt me the most was when I attended conferences that were directed towards helping Latinos come up and produce their own shows. But the ones that would go there and showcase their talent, I'm not going to mention names, were just there just to flash their selves and say that they were proactive with the community, but they were not doing anything. They were not producing. They were not bringing anybody on board. And it's like if they were scared to bring somebody else and take their job, they didn't want to pass on the baton. And I'm glad that we're living these times in the digital age where we can be ourselves and we don't need somebody's approval to do what we want to do as far as like producing content. And I think it's the age of revolution. And at this point, we got to cultivate more Latinos that have the brain and the power and the necessary energy to go out there and portray great messages. Like I said, one of the things like for myself when I walked away from the radio game was because of that, because I was tired of being in a Spanish driven game in an American market where I was still perceived as a stereotype by my own kind. You have in Spanish, you have stupid names like El Perro, El Pinche Chango, El Nalga, El this and this and that. I'm like, we're not all stupid. We're not all just let's get party, bro. Let's do this, let's do that. There's a variety of Latinos that are out there, and there's a whole different level of mentality out there. There's nothing wrong with that, but come on, if we want to change this for the positive, I think, like you said, we got to change that image. And it all starts with us. I don't know about you, but I think it's the way we perceive ourselves. Like, for instance, me, like during the week, I work with a person on the west side, right here in LA and Beverly Hills. I go and do a quick job, and this person is somebody with a lot of money, but they still perceive me as somebody bad because I have a bald head, not knowing that I don't have hair, but they see me as a stereotype. But I've been having this relationship with this person for almost 6 months. Now that person has kind of like eased off on the gas of hatred, and now he treats me with more respect. Why? Because I showed him that I'm a kind of different Latino. He does have Latinos that work for him, and he's used to having them as yes, man. Yes, whatever you say, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And I go there, and obviously I say that, but I take care of business. But I let them know that we're not all just enslaved to them, and just because they have the money and the power that we should be treated as less. And I don't know, I guess it starts with our individuality, showing off that we can be better than what they portray us and not being just the stereotypes, because the media, all they show is, oh, beaches, tacuaches that were burning in rubber, and this is what happened. So until we step up and represent ourselves in a better way by example and not feeling less, I think it has to start within, because outside, for it to change, if there's no money behind it, they're not going to put money into it. What do you think, Charlie?
And I totally agree with both. And to be honest with you, that she knows this is the reason we decided to bring this show to everyone. We don't want to be that stereotype. We actually want to bring a show that could feed your mind, have an alternative thinking, and brought to you by two Latinos. I personally myself, I was born in Mexico. I'm proud to be Mexican,
Échale la migra al
and for
cabrón.
that same and for that same reason, I I also I didn't leave radio. They pushed me out in a sense. Why? Because I wanted to make a difference in radio, but no. And same thing. It's our own race as well. That it's all about the money. It's all about if you're not like if you're like and like Heidi said, if you're not mixed and emphasize that you're mixed, you're not going anywhere. And it's sad, but we definitely need to change. One person that comes into mind, and I definitely give her props for what she
Mm-hmm.
did. It's unfortunate for the role that she played and the way she was portrayed was Yalitza Aparicio from the movie Roma.
Mm-hmm.
She's an unbelievable actress. She did an amazing role, but the role that she played just like portrayed a Latina as just being a maid or whatnot, you know?
I think it's more
And
about portraying, as Heidi was saying, portraying the realness and the diversity behind it, not just the stereotypes.
right.
And I think it gets to a point where we're angry, and if we don't do something ourselves, the generation that's kind of like in the forefront right now, what's going to happen for the kids that come later? Are they just going to be another diluted product to society? Ah, ya, esos son los cabrones that vaporize. Oh, sí, esos son los cabrones que nomás se marihuanean. Oh, ya, esos son los wannabe artists. Oh, sí, sí, esos güeyes están locos. No, tú olvídate de eso. Just continue working. I don't know. I think we need to show our kids, like Tyler Perry says. I dream of the day also where we can have such leaders like Tyler Perry in our community and Oprah that can bring about that change, and they have the money and they can produce the content and not just produce stereotypical content, which is just plain like corridos de mota and stuff like that. We're more than that. And I hope somebody that watches this comes and says, guys, here's $1 million. Continue doing Nachina and Friends, but take it to another level. Heidi, what do you think is the solution?
You know what, Nachin, going back to your question earlier, can you see? Okay. Going back to your question earlier, part of the reason why Mexicans have to be brown is because that's the way we are perceived by the white man,
Mm-hmm.
right? They only see us as brown. They don't believe that Araceli Arambula exists or Paulina Rubio. Those Mexicans, they don't see them. Okay? If they see them on the street, they probably think that they're white just like
Mm-hmm.
them. But part of the reason why we have to emphasize in the entertainment that the Latino actors are mixed is because if not, they are seen as immigrant.
Because of the closed border tensions that we have.
Yeah, yeah. So to white people, they're seen as immigrants. So there's a belief that if you throw in a Mexican, but a Mexican that is mixed or that claims to be more something else other than, just Mexican, then the white people are going to perceive them as, oh, they're immigrants. So then they're just not going to get the popularity.
It's sad.
But that's false.
It really is sad.
It's a false narrative.
Yesterday, for instance, like one of my brothers, he works in construction and he loves what he does, and I go help him from time to time. And yesterday he asked me if I can go help him move some furniture, and we go to one of his clients' house, and the client very well off, and he's a doctor. I went to go help my brother about 3 weeks ago. We were changing the floor and the carpet, and I went and we were working in the room by ourselves, and the doctor saw me in the camera walking in and out, and I was going to get tools and supplies that we needed inside the room that was very far away from where he was at. Long story short, he calls my brother and he says, hey, tell your brother or your worker. He didn't know I was his brother. He's like, tell your worker, helper to put on a mask. But I can hear in his voice that he was like mad, like, de güey que cree, he's coming into my house type thing. So, okay, I left it like that. Cool. Second time comes around. We go and I keep working, and next time I wear my mask from the get go, and he doesn't say anything. Okay, cool. And he sees that and then we come and we meet face to face. When we meet face to face, my brother says, "Oh, look, this is my brother." And he's like, "Oh, okay, great. Nice to meet you." So his tone changed. But then when I opened my mouth, he was like, "Oh, wow. What do you do?" I'm like, "I do a little bit of everything. I'm a stripper by night," and so on. No, but I showed him that I had a different mindset, and he kind of like changed his perspective, because in his mind, he's always used to directing orders to people that look like the stereotypical Mexican. Long story short, third point and final point is, last night when I went to go help my brother, we went to go get another piece of furniture and deliver it to this guy. I had gone to a job interview during the day, so I was dressed up differently. I was wearing slacks, I was wearing a sports jacket, and I looked, like typical pinche real estate agent, like more dressed up. And when I walked in, he looked at me differently. He's like, "Oh, hi, don't mess up your jacket," and treating me differently. And I'm like, I think it's the image of social levels at the same time, because
It is.
these people just tend to see us as the working class, the workers for them, the modern slaves, and they see us as such, and they cannot understand that such individuals had kids, and thanks to those people that busted their ass, we're able to speak differently, and we are able to communicate a different agenda and a different message, and make our gente proud. They don't realize that we are these gems that are out there. Why? Because most of the Latinos, I dare to say this, most of the Latinos that have made it and have had the opportunity to have an education, they're in their own little world. They kind of clicked out and they checked out of the community, and they cannot come back to the hood because who dares for them to be out there? So they don't really mix. They live in the nice areas. But what I'm saying with that is that those don't come back and give the helping hand to the other, to kind of like update them. Hey, you know what? Be different. Feel different. Don't feel down. Don't feel like a worker. Don't feel like a slave. And I think it starts within ourselves. We really need to pump each other like the communities out there do, like the Armenians, the blacks, the Asians. They really push each other to be different and to be better. And until we have that unity within ourselves, and we start, instead of calling ourselves este pinche indio or este pinche güey, borracho, and all these stereotypical names, nothing's going to change, because like they used to say in the Roman times, divide and conquer. If they keep us divided, we're never going to be a cohesive, unified substance that's going to be able to stand out in society and, showcase who we are, because the ones that make it don't help out the ones behind. And
I agree
it's sad.
with a lot that you say, and I think one of the important things is that we realize that when we tell our kids, I'm going to say it in Spanish because I heard this growing up, and I don't know if you guys heard this growing up, but tú no eres una más del montón. El montón se va a perder. You go to school. Right there, you're already creating a separation in this child's mind. Like, I am better, or if I am better, I'm not like the rest of them, when it should be, you know what, kid, go to school. And when you go to school and you make millions, you come back and help your community. That's what we need to change within our community, the Mexican American community.
Is the giving back, right? The giving back factor. Pass it on.
And what we're telling our children.
It's sad that only a few make it. Like, for instance, you have a lot of successful people, and props to you, whoever made it. The Oscar de la Hoyas, the Mario Lopez, the Edward James, almost the typical guys that we see on TV. I think it's your responsibility as individuals, since you are a product of our society, our people, our own gente lifted you up and gave you that status, to come back, not just with the nonprofit that gives out toys during Christmas and you take a picture during Turkey Day and Skid Row. No, it's more about continuing the process. And that is not just about having a school and making a profit on it. It's about really creating, I guess, something that gives back to the community on a bigger level, which is knowledge and extended knowledge in life. I mean, I dream of the day when Latinos can be financially wise and not just a victim of the system, that they get stuck paying a pinche credit card for 20,000 years, and they don't know any better. And I get mad when I hear people in advertising screw them. Like, for instance, guys that you hear, oh, you know what, come and buy this car and we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that, we're going to give you that. And at the end, all they do is they screw these people and they put them in a bigger hole that they cannot come out from, instead of saying, you know what, vente, this is the way you got to do this. Quiero que empieza con nosotros mismos, y si no lo hacemos nosotros, nos van a seguir chingando. Así de fácil.
Yeah, yeah. We have to put a stop to it. In the entertainment business, it has to be us. To say, you know what, I'm sorry, big studios. I'm sorry that you don't think a Mexican should be pretty, but you know what? That person is Mexican and they are beautiful and they do have a spark and they are charismatic and they should be the actress for this. And if they get told no, take it to social media. Go and reach out to other activists. I bet in a split second, that's going to change. If we speak up and we say, this studio just told me that this person cannot be an actress on the show because they're too cute or they're too pretty to be a Mexican, I feel that there's going to be a change because there's social media and Mexicans are very outspoken as well.
They are outspoken.
So it's not like we're tied.
They are outspoken, pero creo que they're outspoken only por chingaderas a veces, and we don't focus. We need to have the leadership that says, you know what, cabrones, let's get it together. Let's make something happen. Like, we stand up with other movements, and yet we don't have movement in our community. You have people that are, if we get into politics, there's so many layers to it, but it has to start with us treating each other better and respecting each other and not seeing each other as ese way. I don't know. That's my perspective. Charlie, ¿tú qué crees? ¿Vas a sacar la 45 o qué chingados, cabrón?
No, and as the more you speak, I hear both speaking. I'm just thinking of all the different scenarios that could happen, and the only thing I can say is that we need to help each other. You have to reach in front of you to grab that hand that learns, and keep the other hand behind you so you can reach for the person that's falling. I couldn't agree with you more. Everything that I wanted to say, you guys said it. But
we read your mind, cabrón.
No, it's because I'm happy all three of us think the same way. We definitely, and like you said, Latinos just a general, I guess identifier, but being Mexican, that's the thing. I hope that I challenge anybody that's listening and watching that wants to produce a movie. You have three Mexicans here that could do an awesome job.
You're gonna say, no mames, we said pretty ones. Enough of the ugly ones.
Hey, I didn't say
just
I was
kidding,
pretty,
just
bro.
kidding.
I could be your typical tío.
No, Charlie, you can be the galán de la novela, el charlanzo. Llega con el chile y quiere comer. Nah, you're right. Well, I think we're living in times where we can reflect the reality, and it starts with us. And we have to really produce things that we want to accommodate and have on our own. So I guess we really, like you said, we really have to push each other because the money out there doesn't see the same as the realness out here,
That's right.
Heidi, any last thoughts that you want to add to the whole point? With the Selena thing, you were saying that it was not cast right, or what was your point with the Selena series?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Cerrantos, it's the girl's last name, correct? I think she is a beautiful girl, and in her own right, she's actually a very sexy girl. Okay, I don't think that her charisma matched Selena. And once again, taking it back, it's when it comes down to Mexican actors, is like they're there but not really. I think we need to lose the fear of we can be there but not really. No, we need to say we are that. We are hot. We are pretty. And we've seen it because we see it in novelas in Mexico all the time, because Selma Hayek exists, because we went to high school with beautiful
and there's
Mexicans,
prettier, like the cheerleaders. So
chubby Mexicans, and there's the native Mexicans, and there's Mexicans who look Asian, and so we need to kick off all these stereotypes. We need to kick off the fact that they say, well, no, you have to be mixed because otherwise you're an immigrant. No, well, we're not immigrants. There's a nation of Mexican Americans in the United States. If you don't know that, you're stupid. I'm sorry. It needs to stop. This is 2020. So it's time to kill it. It's time to end it. Again, I encourage any Mexican out there who has gone through any of this or who has been told any of this to speak up. If back in the days, we used to go to the news to try to voice these issues, and the news didn't give us the time. But now there's social media, so go ahead and post it on social media. It needs to be talked about in order for it to end.
What do you think would be a good hashtag? Latino change or I don't know.
Mexican change.
I think it has to be Mexican.
Mexican.
Because I think other Latinos are allowed to be.
Why don't we create Mexican hashtag Mexican is not a bad word. And from there it derives. Because saying you're Mexican kind of like says like it does feel like, oh, you're Mexican, Mexicano, amigo. Always you go back to the 70s, those movies. Oh, that is my Mexicano. Yeah, that's the guy from Rosarito. And all the people tend to have that idea that we're that border South guy. I think we need to get to a level where the background is kind of like seamlessly invincible, kind of like the Jewish community, where you see somebody and they look white or they look black or whatever background they have in their color, in their DNA, but they could be Jewish and it's okay. The same thing with us. Mm-hmm. We're individuals. Let's practice that and realize and be proud of being Mexican. Mexican is not a bad word. It's a good thing. Wake up and be a good person. Show the world how good you are. We're the hardest working class, I think, in the United States. Just look at who does all your work, who does all the produce, who does all your restaurants, who does all the hard labor, who does all the picking up. Appreciate those people that do it from the bottom of their heart to bring a piece of bread to their home, and they put down their dignity just to be that person that says, you know what, F the ego. I'm better than that because I'm here to survive and I'm here to be a better individual. And they sacrifice their lives for their kids, my parents, my brothers, who gave their whole life career mindset so others like myself can continue the journey. And I think it's up to us that we're in this level of understanding and of wisdom of life to take it and continue it for the generations that are coming, our kids, our little cousins, all the generations that are coming. Be proud of who you are. Don't let the stupid mentality of the past of being a stereotype detain you from reaching your dreams. Go out there. Find a way to do it. Action is what kills laziness. Get out there and do it. Be active. It's not going to be easy, but con huevos you can do it.
Sí se puede, Nachín, sí se puede.
Arriba Cesar Chavez. Nah, chingues.
Hey, I'm going to share something with you guys that happened this week, and I was telling my wife, it just cracked me up. I work for a medical group. I'm on the phones all the time. I get a patient that tells me, oh, finally, I don't get a Mexican on the phone. I'm like, all right, I'm going to let this guy just roll through it. I'm going to help him out. At the end of the call, he asked me, hey, so where you from? I'm like, I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico. You don't sound Mexican. And I asked, how are Mexicans supposed to sound like? Well, like this. I'm like, wow. Dude, like, even on the phones, bro, this is a person that is seeking medical care. And, I mean, like, dude, like, I wanted to say, bro, you need mental health. There's nothing wrong with your body. It's your mental state. But it got me laughing right now there. We were talking about this. I kind of remember it. I mean, soy Mexicano. I'm Mexican, bro. And, bro, there we go.
You should have said, it was nice helping you, puto.
I did. No, I didn't say that.
You should have, cabrón. You should have. At least minimum.
But,
Pinche vato loco.
But he learned his lesson. At the end of the call, he did apologize. And, he's like, I need to stop doing it. I'm like, that would be great. 90% of the company that I work for are Latino.
Right. Well, you guys, I thank you so much. We can continue the topic forever, and I think we should extend it and continue this conversation because it's an endless one. And unless we bring that spark, nothing's going to come to light. So we have to be the ones that initiate it and continue it. And I'm not saying getting all crazy, but lead by example. Be that good that you are. Be that good that they taught you to be. Let's exemplify and let's radiate all those good values that we have as a cultura because we come from good people. Just look back. Look back at the creators that created our history, the Aztecs. At this point, we're not purely bred, but look at those warriors. Without anything but their minds and their heart, they build empires. Let's come up and build our own empire now. And I'm not trying to talk about conquistas or anything like that, but an empire of, perception where they see us as more than a stereotype. Los quiero mucho. Muchas gracias, Heidi. Que Dios te bendiga.
Thank you, Nachin, and thank you. What did you say? Brown is not a bad word. No, Mexican is not a bad word.
Mexican is not a bad word.
Mexican is not a bad word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's hashtag that.
Okay, let's do it. Will you be back to the show and bring us more topics? I love your intelligent conversations you bring about, and you make us feel good, Charlie and I.
Yes. Definitely.
Okay.
Anytime.
Are you going to show us how to make tamales for Christmas? Nah, that's a stereotype. Cállate, güey.
I did learn how to make tamales de pollo, queso, y rajas. So.
Oh, nice. You're becoming Mexican now. Good job. We're bringing you to the mix. Good job.
Hey, because you know what? Mexican American girls can also cook. Our moms, they could cook and they passed it down.
Well, we got to experiment that. If we don't eat that Pepto, we'll believe you. Not just kidding. Thank you. You guys catch us on Monday. We do hashtag Quickie News. We'll bring you the most current news of the weekend and anything that happens and kick off your week. Find us right here and at Chingon, our channel. And every Friday, we're going to bring you this extended version where we bring you the news, but a little bit more information that makes you think, information that makes you feel good, and at the same time wakes you up. It's called alternative thinking. Thank you, guys. Charlie, gracias, cabrón.
Thank you, brother. Have a good night. Happy Free Day. Have a good weekend. You can find us on, what's yours? What's your social media, Nachin?
Nachingon. Nachingon.
Nachingon.
¿Cuál es el tuyo, Heidi? So
Heidi.
People can find you. Se les conectó.
Mine?
Heidi. Yeah, Heidi, what's your social
Stop
media?
hiding, Heidi.
Where can we find you and follow you?
It's Heidi_2.
2.
Heidi_2. Plain and simple. Mine changed by popular demand. Mine is Charlie M Radio.
Órale. Nice. Charlie is CHARLIE, right?
Yes, sir. CHARLIE MRADIO. Charlie Radio.
Make sure you guys check out Charlie. He does a lot of selfies in bikini, so you might be into that kind of stuff. It's all good. Heidi, make sure you cook us those tamales, and we're going to pick them up ahí in San Diego where you stay.
For sure. In Chula Vista. I'm right by the border, you guys.
Ándale.
Ooh.
Charlie.
Mexican with money. Yay.
Hey, listen, anytime you guys want to come through and shoot, I literally have a view to the border.
Really?
It's San Diego, and then you can see that mountain towards Tijuana.
Oh, I would love to do that. We should do a show there.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Heidi getting us sick with her Mexican food. Good job, then. Just kidding.